Okay, this video contains angst, but it'll have a happy ending. If you don't watch this till the end, you'll probably be really sad. So keep on watching, otherwise I can't guarantee for your happiness. I'm also still waiting for my new microphone, so the audio is really bad. I'm sorry, but I gotta wait for the package to arrive. Anyways, let's start with the video. Tissues ready? Okay. Kenma groaned as his alarm went off, rubbing his eyes in annoyance. Jeez, be quiet already, I'm awake. Of course he was awake. He had been awake all night, unable to close his eyes for longer than 5 minutes, constantly checking the time on his phone's display. Today was the day Kenma had been waiting for, what seemed like forever. The day Kuroo came back from his studies abroad. Kenma walked into the kitchen, boiled some water for his coffee, and then scrolled through the comments on his YouTube channel. He smiled when he spotted Kuroo's comment. Can't wait to see you later. I love you. Kenma loved the small gestures like this the most. A hidden comment here, a letter there. On his birthday, Kuroo had even ordered a small cake from a local bakery to surprise Kenma. Kuroo always managed to make his day, even when he wasn't around. The setter tied his hair into a bun, wondering whether or not he should get it cut and dyed again, but decided that it was too tiresome. Talking to strangers? Thanks, but no. Maybe he'd ask Kuroo to help him dye it. He shuddered at the thought of the airport that was filled with people and quickly bit into his toast as he opened the flight radar app to check on Kuroo's flight status to calm down his anxiety. Damn airplanes, thought to himself, confused as he noticed that the plane Kuroo supposedly was on didn't show up on the map. Kenma's heart rate immediately picked up. The app must suck. It's not like the airplane has gone missing or something like that. He mumbled in an attempt to convince himself that it wasn't a big deal. Instead of worrying, he finished eating his breakfast and put on his shoes as his phone rang. Yaku? Kenma said as he grabbed his bag, ready to leave his apartment. Kenma, what's Kuroo's flight number again? Yaku's voice was quivering, causing Kenma's heart to drop. Something wasn't right. Haikyuu Airways 019. Shit, yeah, something was wrong. Very wrong. Why? He barely managed to even speak, and his senior's silence didn't contribute much to ease his growing anxiety. Yaku, why are you asking for Kuroo's flight number? Silence. Yaku, that plane went missing. It felt as if the ground fell out from Kenma's feet. His surroundings became blurry. He felt like he was going to pass out, or throw up, or maybe both at the same time. This was a joke, wasn't it? I just saw it in the news. I tried to call the airline, but the line was busy. I'll come over right now. No. It wasn't Kuroo's plane. It wasn't. And just because a plane goes missing, it doesn't mean it crashed. Kuroo was alive, definitely. Wasn't he? No, I'll go to the airport now, Kenma said as he cut the call, quickly leaving his apartment. His eyes were glued on the phone's display, scanning over the articles that had started to spread all over the internet. Haikyuu Flight 019 went missing over the East Chinese Sea, about 500 miles from Taiwan. Kenma was fighting back his tears as he dialed the airline's number. The line is currently busy. Please call back at a later time. We're sorry for any inconvenience caused. This must be a joke, he thought as he boarded the train, quietly staring at the sky for most of the ride. It took him a good hour until he finally arrived at the airport. To his own surprise, he wasn't feeling anxious. He wasn't crying. In fact, he felt nothing. There was a huge mess at the airline counter. People were screaming, crying, worried and angry at the same time. It seemed so surreal to Kenma. Like he was stuck in a bad dream. Some sort of nightmare. Yeah, he was asleep. Once he'd wake up, he'd call Kuroo and Kenma snapped out of his trance as someone tapped onto his shoulder. How long had he been standing there without moving even as much as an inch? Yaku, why are you? How could I possibly leave you alone? Yaku said, his bloodshot eyes making it ever so clear to Kenma that this wasn't a dream. Kuroo's plane had gone missing, or worse, it may even had crashed into the ocean. What if Kuroo died? What if Kenma was never going to see him again? He hadn't even had the chance to say goodbye. What if he was hurt, bleeding out somewhere in a cold dark place, all by himself, terrified and in pain, drowning in the ocean, suffocating by the waves? All of a sudden the emptiness in Kenma's heart was washed away by a wave of nausea. Kenma didn't manage to make it to the washroom and threw up right in front of the airline counter, and if Yaku hadn't grabbed onto his arm, pulling him up, he would have lost balance and stumbled right into his vomit. Normally Kenma would have freaked out at the thought of dozens of people staring at him, but today wasn't a normal day. He didn't care. Kenma heard Yaku's voice somewhere far away, but he didn't understand what he was saying. Kuroo's words were ringing in his ears as hot tears streamed down his cheeks. I love you. Let's move in together once I'm back from Germany, he had said. Kenma's eyes flung open. Where was he? What happened? That damn nightmare. Kenma, you're awake? The setter flinched at Yaku's voice. After all, it hadn't been a dream. What happened? You threw up and broke down. What about Kuroo? Yaku shook his head. He seemed calm, but the painful look on his face gave him away. They still haven't confirmed whether he was on board or not. Apparently, they have troubles with the system. He's not dead, isn't he? Kenma, I don't know. Sorry, of course you don't. Sorry. Don't say sorry, I'll get you some water. Wait a second, okay? No, can you just stay with me? Yeah, sure. 2 hours had passed in silence without any new information from the airport staff. The room was warm, and yet Kenma was freezing, his hands cold as ice. Kosume-san, a woman who was wearing the airline uniform, popped her head through the door. We have received the passengers list and confirmed that your boyfriend, Kenma's phone vibrated, the display lighting up with a picture of Kuroo who was smiling into the camera. That your boyfriend wasn't on board. Due to a service error, he had to get booked onto a different flight which departed 3 hours later. The plane touched the ground 20 minutes ago. The flight number is... Kenma's heart was beating with 180 beats per minute as he picked up the call, completely ignoring the woman. Kenma, are you at the airport? Sorry, I arrived late because I was booked onto another plane last second. I couldn't connect the Wi-Fi at the airport, and the in-flight Wi-Fi somehow wasn't working either. Kenma, can you hear me? Kenma, say something. Are you crying? It was Yaku who answered the phone call, grabbed onto their backs and dragged Kenma through the airport. Where are you? Yakun? Why are you? Where are you? Huh? I just left the customs, and I'm right next to the 7-Eleven. Stay there, don't move. Huh? What is wrong with you? Why are you yelling? Yakun? Kuroo stared at his phone's display in confusion as he realized that Yaku had ended the call. What on earth was that? Why did I get that many texts? Jeez, I just took a flight and they suddenly all miss me? He wondered as he waited for Kenma, too exhausted to reply to anyone yet. Kuroo? Kenma's voice was so thin, it almost broke Kuroo's heart, even though he wasn't sure what exactly had happened. Kenma, what is wrong? Kenma jumped into Kuroo's arms, unable to stop his tears from falling. The black-haired male gazed over to where Yaku was standing, and grew even more confused as he saw the demonic senpai crying as well. What on earth had happened? 8 months later, Kuroo locked the door behind him before he flung his backpack over the shoulder. You have everything? Nothing's forgotten? He asked as he grabbed onto Kenma's hand, who just shook his head and yawned. We could have just taken the plane instead of taking the overnight bus. Kenma flinched at those words. No, he glared at his boyfriend, who just huffed in amusement over the look on Kenma's face, knowing that Kenma would never get close to airplanes for the rest of his life. I get it, but don't complain if you're tired by the time we arrive in Fukuoka. I won't complain. I'll just sleep on the bus. It didn't take them long to arrive at the bus terminus. Their apartment was only a 10-minute walk from it. It was a small 350 square feet apartment in the center of Tokyo, but Kenma loved it. It was his home. No, it was their home. Kenma either slept or played games during the 14-hour bus ride, whilst Kuroo mainly stared out of the window and listened to music in an attempt to calm down his nerves, gently squeezing the little box in his left pocket from time to time, just to make sure it was still there. Kenma? You love me, right? Kenma raised his eyebrows as he turned his head towards his boyfriend. You know I do. Why? Nothing. Kuroo smiled as he ruffled his boyfriend's hair. I just needed some reassurance here. Reassurance? For what? It's nothing. Go back to playing your game. Kuroo smiled. I just wanted to be sure that you'd say yes if I asked you. I will probably end this KuroKen series with the next part, aka Kuroo's proposal, and then finally finish the other things that I've started a long time ago. Anyways, this is the last video I upload in 2020. I hope everyone will have a great start to the new year. Stay safe and hydrated, and see you next year. Bye bye!